أصحاب السعادة حضور الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, partners and stakeholders, welcome to the last session before lunch. It's a challenging session usually before and after the lunch. You either feel sleepy or you're hungry, but I assure this is going to be a session you wished it continued longer. Yesterday we had some lively sessions that were largely centered around broad-based topics, whether they were about doing business in the GCC, energy transition goals, health and retail. But this session is about an overarching niche, or the mother of all industrial niches, as I would like to call it. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but in my opinion, manufacturing could be the best way to drive and advance non-oil economies and cut down too much dependence on a single resource, which can otherwise be very risky. Why I say that? Simple. Because it brings reliability to an economy. You create jobs, attract investment, drive innovation, and even contribute to sustainability. So today we'll be talking about manufacturing, a key element in the region's non-oil economic growth vision. But it's not just any manufacturing, it's Industry 4.0. In case some of you are wondering what the 4.0 in the name stands for, just as I was when I was researching my topic, it represents the fourth industrial revolution in manufacturing. From the first industrial revolution, which saw the advent of steam engines, to mass production and assembly lines using electricity in the second, and computers and automation in the third, we are now living and experiencing the fourth industrial revolution, which will take what was started in the third and enhance it with smart, autonomous systems fueled by data, AI, and ML. And the GCC in particular has been keen in deploying technology to enhance its manufacturing capabilities and drive sustainable growth. In fact, manufacturing is becoming one of the more high-tech industries in the region and the key to diversifying its non-oil economies. And that is evident from the fact that the GCC member states have dedicated entire divisions to advanced manufacturing. And in the case of the UAE, there's a whole ministry for it. And yesterday, His Excellency Bandar Al-Khurayyi of Saudi Arabia's Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources rightfully highlighted advanced manufacturing in his panel discussion. In April last year, His Excellency launched the Saudi Advanced Manufacturing Hub, or the AM Hub, and also expressed the desire for KSA to become a leader in additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing. 2 months later, in June, Qatar launched its own AM Hub. Now let me tell you that these AM Hubs are one of the 14 globally. Then we have the UAE's Industry 4.0 initiative, which is in fact the region's first, led by the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. That's the ministry that I just mentioned, referred to, which aims to increase national manufacturing productivity by 30% and increase GDP by $7 billion by about 2030-31. So we see the seriousness in the region to advance manufacturing. This also opens doors for opportunities for partners from around the world, and especially France. Now, to discuss this further in a very short time frame, we have with us our panelists. I'm just going to state their names and companies and give them about 2 to 3 minutes each to tell us what the companies do so that you all know before I ask them questions. So from my left is Engineer Abdullah Al-Ubeykan, CEO of Ubeykan Group. Next to him is Alice Gainek, the Chief Digital and Information Officer of SAR. And Paul Guillemot, the CEO of Spare Parts 3D. Welcome. Engineer Abdullah, if you could just start with your introduction, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. In 2 minutes, I would like to introduce my company. We are a 40 years old company, a manufacturing industrial company. We have 20 factories, $1.6 billion assets. We are operating in glass, paper, plastic, and packaging. We export 60% out of Saudi. We operate in more than, or we sell more than almost 90 countries. We have more than 16 offices across the region and Europe. We decided 5-7 years ago to convert or to think without box, to create new business from digital and digital economy. What we did, we create productivity platform, innovation platform in the top of factory, like what Tesla did, mobility platform and 4 wheels. We do productivity platform on top of factory. Today, we create 20 startup, 20 team, corporate venture capital. We create 20 platform to solve 20 pain in our own operation. Our strategy is very simple. We solve our own problem. We celebrate for success, money, productivity. After that, we offer it to our customer and to the world. Today, we are on a global level. We have 3, 4 platforms launched in Europe and global level, and the rest coming. We become today a software company, and we successfully bridge the transformation from an industrial company to be a software company. And we believe we create digital assets on top of our physical assets, means we monetize all the deep vertical knowledge we built last 20, 40 years to have it in a platform and scale it globally. And this is relevant for every one of you. If you have a deep vertical and if you have deep knowledge of any business, you can do similar.
Thank you. Alice?
Okay, what about SOR? SOR is a French company. It's a pure player in water. And I have the honor to say that next week, we will celebrate the 90 years of the company, 90. So it's
Happy
a
birthday.
great pleasure to be there today. And it's a 2 billion euro company with 30,000 employees. And we are serving around 20 million euro consumers across the globe. Historically, with GCC, we have a strong story with GCC, with strong contracts. Our international HQ headquarters is in Dubai, to give you the importance of GCC in the group strategy. We have big contracts. 2 of them are with Medina region in Saudi, and the second in Dammam in Saudi as well. And we serve 9 million consumers in Saudi, not far from half of the group, just to give you the importance of GCC for SOR. And we have the ambition to become what we call the champion of water transition as we talk about ecology transition, climate transition. Now we are talking about water transition. And what does it mean? Water transition is to say now we have a problem with water. It's across the globe, we'll have a problem. Our ambition is to be the leader on water to preserve the resource. And for that, we will have to, so we are talking about sustainability, and we have committed ourselves as a group on financial aspect to reduce the consumption of water across the globe by 10%, I would say. And for that, we have 2 pillars. Of course, the first one is CSR and sustainability strategy. And the second one is digital. And here we'll come to Industry 4.0.
Paul?
Right. Hello, everyone. So I'm CEO of Spare Parts 3D, a much younger company than those 2 that got presented. We are a startup, French startup, based out of France and Singapore, actually. And we happen to operate pretty much 70% of our business right now in the GCC. We are a software company, and we provide software to help industrials, mostly heavy industries, to digitize the inventories of spare parts so that they can be then produced locally using 3D printing. Our objective being enabling taking off big loads of spare parts that are in the balance sheet that are costing a lot to the companies, and basically by digitizing the process. So we offer several solutions throughout our software, mainly 2 things. One is identification of spare parts that can be printed and that makes sense to be digitized and then printed. So question of what should I do, and being able to value at stake what should be as a return on investment of those digitization. That's the first thing. The second thing is helping the digitization itself. And we often talk about digitization as a big word. When we are talking about digital inventory, we are talking about having all the means to be able to reproduce a part locally with a given supplier. So providing flexibility for in terms of the supply chain, providing the resilience, and providing localization. So that's what basically we do. And again, operating in Oman, Qatar, and we just started last week in both in Saudi and UAE to operate.
Great. Yeah, heavily entrenched in the GCC, I see both companies. So we'll be having 2 rounds of questions, and maybe we could open the floor for questions and answers after this if we have time. And so let me start off with you, Engineer Abdullah. The Ubaikan Group is deeply involved with the Saudi Hub, a key catalyst, as we know, for upgrading the kingdom's industrial ecosystem. Just briefly, what are some highlights of the group's initiatives in smart manufacturing, and how does that help the group's vision in the grand scheme of things? And maybe you could also give us an overview of how Industry 4.0 is actually transforming the manufacturing landscape in the case, with some case studies and examples so that we can...
Many businessmen believe digital transformation or 4.0, it's incremental productivity. And this is, I think they are missing the point. The 4.0, it's a game changer. It's disrupting the cost structure, how you operate a factory since Henry Ford invented the factory model. Today, a structure of cost to connect your assets, to automate and digitalize your process, to integrate the cost and the competency and the people and the man and machine and methods and material together, you will create totally different productivity game. Means you will win in the market. It's not a matter of luxury to have a command center or have nice figures and have things in your mobile. No, this is a matter of cost. If I produce this in €1, I can produce it in 80 cents. And I can pass this productivity, half of it, to my customer, and I can win more market share. And this is what happened in my company. I grow last 3 years, 20 plus. I improved 10 point my margin, and we have almost 0 defect. We reduce 99% of our customer complaint, and we reduce also 98% of our customer complaint cost. This is a game changer. This is not incremental, but we learned a lot last 7 years, and we build our own strategy and methodology to transform. First, we repeat like almost every day, get organized. If you don't understand your vertical deep, don't try to transform. Because if you transform, you will fail faster. But if you organize yourself, regardless what's your industry, is it water or a medical or a supply chain or manufacturing, you need to go deep to understand your domain and vertical. Today, the game, it's a vertical game, not anymore technology game. I heard today and yesterday AI. And yesterday was in Station F talking about AI. I can tell you, AI to become more and more commodity, like sending email and an Excel sheet. Today, don't build your capability in AI. Build capability in your understanding of vertical. Get organized and get connect. After that, with the expertise, you can get inside and kind of build AI. Today, the big boys, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they are commoditized AI, become like sending email. And this is very important. And this is valid just 12 months ago, 24 months ago. Maybe 5 years, you need same capability like MIT PhD holder for data scientist. Today, you don't need that. I have 3,000 employees. I train, as we speak, 300 people to be data scientists. And they create in the shop floor. They are a shop floor worker, and they are creating their use case. And they become predictive. They go inside. They become smarter, cheaper, faster, deeper. All this done by a shop floor guy. But you need to move from a project base to a platform base. You can scale. Don't deal with AI as a project. Deal with it as a part of daily activities. And this is the small mistake or big mistakes. Many corporate, they are creating a lot of initiatives as a project. If you don't have it within a platform, highly integrated, you can scale it, you can repeat, you can accumulate knowledge, you will, I think, miss big point. We have a factory almost double our capacity with same asset and with less people. And we start to offer a price, even B2B, in very attractive price, very competitive price, because we're eliminating a lot of waste in people. I can tell you, most of the manufacturers, 50% doing the business and 50% supporting the business by collecting data, validating data, analytic data, politicize the data, weaponize the data, and this is a big challenge. If you eliminate this, you reduce the 50% supporting the business, maybe to 10 or 15, you can win more in the market. And I believe, personally, it's a must to survive. Like you are moving with, competing with somebody have steam, or somebody have, electricity, but multiply 10x. And this is, I think, the main point. We need to understand the vertical. We need to connect our asset, process, system, customers, suppliers, materials, and after that, we get inside. Stop to talk about AI and BI, because if you are not really organized and connect, you are wasting your time in the transformation.
Great, yes. I see productivity and upskilling is part of the many factors there, and we're going to elaborate on that further. Elise, now, of course, like I said, Industry 4.0 offers huge possibilities, but that also means that not one company or not one country can do it alone, and you, of course, need partnerships and collaborations which play a key significant role in driving the adoption of implementation of Industry 4.0 solutions. Can you walk us through some of the success stories of your collaboration with industry leaders? And I know Al Ubaikan Group is one of them.
Yeah, SOAR has a strong culture of collaboration and partnership, and in many contracts we are partnering with Saudi partners, the GCC partners. But let's talk about a great story. As I said, SOAR mission is to be water transition champion, and one of the key elements is digital. So I just want to point out one figure is 3 billion euro is the total perspective of smart water market. It means the opportunity of selling digital solution on the market on water sector only is 3 billion.
Globally.
Yeah. So at SOAR, we have the ambition to be one of the digital leaders on the market. It means becoming one smart water player on the market. So for that, we have worked a lot inside SOAR to build digital solutions that are ready to be proposed to other actors on the market with the purpose, of course, still the sustainability strategy in mind to preserve the water resource. And the exact purpose is to provide to water its value back. So it's really about sustainability and water preservation. And for that, as we have a culture of partnership, we have tried to find complementarity with partners. And we shared some common ideas with a company that is called Ubaikan. And why are we really complementary? First, because Ubaikan comes from manufacturing. A strong experience on operational excellence, on smart operation, on lean management, that is really strong. And the company and Abdallah has created a vision of manufacturing that is really strong with digital solution to support this ambition. SOAR is a pure player in water with a strong expertise in water, and having together the water expertise plus the operational excellence of manufacturing brings a champion that we strongly believe will be the smart water champion, creating a vertical of smart operation coming from Ubaikan into water. So we strongly believe that we have the good couple to be the digital leader on the market.
Great. I see that efficiency is going to be one of those highlights of for how you function, and we're going to come to that later. Paul, manufacturing and 3D printing, kind of seem synonymous these days. People say that we can manufacture in 3D. I would like to ask you, your company being a pioneer in additive manufacturing, what role do you see 3D printing and related technologies playing in revolutionizing manufacturing, and how can that contribute to the overall development goals of the GCC? Especially when we talk about localization initiatives. I know the GCC is pretty obsessed with the localization, so yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier in your introductions as one of the objectives is to transition from selling oil to manufacturing locally. But what we see is that a lot of the initiatives can be done around the fact that through the energy industry especially, there are a lot of purchases that come from outside, especially the equipment, all the assets to be able to build those factories. A lot of them come from external countries, even external to GCC. So when we are looking at, for our customers in the energy sector, gas turbines, pumps, valves, and so on, this is a lot of things that are purchased from Europe, from the US. A lot of the initiative for localization comes either to get some of these main OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, to come and build a JV or a big plant in your country. This is very well working and obviously need to be pushed further. What we see as an opportunity through Industry 4.0 and again, additive manufacturing as being a means to be able to produce locally on small volumes, combined with digitization. So I mentioned about spare parts. Spare parts, there is a very, very interesting use case on the fact that we are talking about small volumes, high quantity or variety of components, and it is very, very difficult to predict when you need them, so you need to stock a lot. Consequently, as I mentioned, a company like a major oil and gas company will have several $1 billion of inventory sitting there, with most of it never being used over the lifetime of the asset. So digitizing and combining these different Industry 4.0 solutions like digitization and additive manufacturing can enable to have a digital library of those components, shared IP eventually with the OEMs that comes from that can get royalties on the production, but they will not have the burden to produce in the US and then ship the parts. And you will have the ability to produce locally your components only when you need it, and having a full digital inventory. So we see that as a real opportunity in terms of the application of additive manufacturing to localization and to support local manufacturing in the GCC and to support this transition of creating more plants. And one of the examples that we've seen in Oman is we started about 2 years ago working with the national oil company, PDO, and this is a public case study, so I can share about it. And we've done a due diligence through our identification product on what are the parts that make sense to be produced and what the ones that we should produce. And the outcome of that is, okay, there are several dozens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, that we could save per year. But it requires to locate production. It means we need to create shops. We need to get investors coming in and buy 3D printers and start being able to produce locally in parallel to the digitization work that we need to do. So right now, we are supporting them in providing insights, and that relates to what Engineer Abdallah was saying earlier. When you know well your business, you can leverage the data and data insight as very valuable business models. We have a very clarity onto the terms of technologies that are needed to be installed in Oman to be able to support the on-demand production of spare parts and this localization of spare parts. So that's a use case that we want to replicate in different countries within the GCC, and that we think is quite valuable to support localization of manufacturing.
Great. If this is a good first round, I'm sure you wouldn't agree. So, like I said, the Industry 4.0 is interlinkages, many assets and many facets to it. And there are key challenges that Industry 4.0 aims to address, such as optimization of processes, increasing productivity, improving sustainability, localization, reducing emissions, collaboration, creating employment, amongst the long list of challenges it aims to address. I'm going to now take the liberty to ask each one of you speakers your view on just one facet. Engineer Abdullah, starting with you. Can Industry 4.0 improve productivity? I know you've said that, but share with us the experiences that you have created at Ubayd Khan Group in this regard.
In the old days, we are using 5, 10, 20 parameters. And also, we are touching the surface of data. Today, we have 1,200 equipment in my company, 280 production line have been connected. Every production line and equipment have something called PLC, Program Logic Control. Every PLC have 10 to 20,000 parameters. Every parameters we can decode it and classify it from maintenance, quality, production, and safety. With this decoding for 10 to 20,000 parameters, you start to create something called digital thread. With digital thread, you start to do digital twin. With digital twin, you start to predict. If you start to predict the process and the machine behavior, you start to avoid any failure. You start to eliminate defect of quality and unplanned maintenance. And this is money. With this, you can increase the OE, overall equipment efficiency, 30, 40, 50, 70%. Because you start to have clear cause and effect, start to have real visualization, start to have actionability, start to have easy Pareto of cost and critical. You start to connect the ERB to the dictionary cost of the operation, the ERB with the PLC, with the supply chain, with all circle, and you try to translate any losses to a money. And every operators, every shift, they can understand how much they gain or they lose. With this, real time. With this, you start to see huge improvement. In the old days, if you are a good company, you understand your cost 1 month later. If you are an average company, maybe 1 year later. And now, if you have it in the shift, per machine, per product, per process, and you start to engage people because you empower them from zero to hero. From a simple operators running around the machine, he has limit of knowledge and capability to become a super operator, to go deep, understand, become entrepreneurs, become become autonomous. We start to see, and we have benchmark globally. We are part of an association called IPG, International Packaging Group, and we benchmark with more than 30 companies globally. And this benchmark, it's live, connected with Heidelberg machine and all the printing supplier machine, because this club have the supplier with us. We are double of productivity in global now in some certain process. Not because we're smart, because we start to get inside the machine. Plus also, we start to understand the machine more than the machine manufacturer. Because machine manufacturer, he understands technology. We understand the process. After we start to get inside the machine, we start to have merge between technology and process. And we start to reverse engineer and challenge the manufacturer. And we start to give them feedback about their design, their performance, their machine, their reliability. With this, you become a real partners, not just a consumer. And with this merge, you can create digital twin. With digital twin, you can train AI. With the training of AI, you can put it in a marketplace of Microsoft or Google, and you start to sell it. If you have a plant of water treatment plant, you can create digital twin for all the plant. And you can train the AI for 1 or 2 years. After that, you can offer it to every water treatment plant globally. And you can have subscription and become a software company. And this is valid for every industry, and everybody know and have a deep knowledge and vertical. And this is what they call it digital economy or knowledge economy. To create physical assets on top of your digital assets on top of your digital assets, physical assets. And I think if you don't create fear inside your organization, this fear let people move fast. Create fear for your board. Create fear for your executive. Create fear because they told them you will bankrupt. And it's true. I mean, I'm not, try to create fear now, but this is the reality. Because you will go with a team, they have different tools to the market. You have a stick and wood, they have a laser gun. And you know the game, who's winning? If you have your soldiers have a laser gun and the other team have, or other camp have a stick and wood. And this will happen, and now it's happened. It's getting more and more. And if you don't really get organized, get connect, get inside, get optimized, merge all this and start small, scale fast, and learn. Don't give up. Don't, because you are an adventure, you are a blue ocean. And this is really the leadership we need, and to create really fear and create a drive.
You spoke like a true leader, Engineer Abdullah. Alice, we want to know more about efficiency.
Yeah, as said, Industry 4.0 is not a technology topic. It's about organization, about being connected. So we have to go back to water business. What is water business? Finally, our business is very simple. We are monitoring infrastructure of water with the objective that it runs correctly, like you finally with your machines, the same. But we are managing 30,000 installations, millions of assets across the geographies, across the globe. So we can't, there are two ways. Either we put people everywhere, but huge amount of people, or, as General Abdallah said, we connect. And that's where digital comes. If we connect all our assets, and we have millions of data coming from our assets every day, then we can start Industry 4.0. And so in the past 3 years, we have become now a data-centric company, and all the assets are communicating with a central database. And now we have been organized, connected, and now we can optimize. And optimize is, as said, putting intelligence, putting tools to automate, to industrialize, to optimize the operation. Starting to become more reactive in real time, detect what happens and react. But the objective is not to stay at reactive mode. It's to become more proactive. First, what will happen in few hours, few days, and predictive. How I have to think my infrastructure in the coming months or years to be more predictable and to anticipate things. So that's our aim. And let's give you some very concrete examples. What does it mean for us? First, as our purpose is sustainability, the first is to fight against leaks on the network. We have millions of kilometers of networks. So the first challenge is to use data coming from all the sensors on the network to first to detect leaks, and tomorrow, or we have started fortunately in SOAR, to anticipate where there will be the leaks, to be able to repair before there is a leak. And the objective for us is to say, okay, we have detected in real time, now we are able to predict where the leaks will take place, and the next step will be how to think differently the network to avoid the potentiality of the leaks. So this is the more strategic way of building new networks. So that's for networks. We are working the same way on working on how to change consumer behavior. Real time. Hey, consumer, you're consuming a little bit too much today. Reacting in real time to change the behavior of the consumer. But the aim again is to become from reactive to proactive. Hey guys, if you don't react and don't reduce the consumption in 1 day or 2 days, we will have globally a problem with water scarcity. And the objective is, of course, to be more strategic, to try to coach people to consume and to optimize the way they consume water for individuals and of course for industries. So we have this kind of first reactive, two proactive, and then predictive for all the topics we are managing. As I said, leaks, as I said, consumer behavior, plant or facilities optimization to become more efficient, energy savings, all the topics in water sector, we will work on this way of first real-time with connected device, then proactive, and then predictive.
Okay, technical yet not too technical, so a person like me can understand it. And from technical to technology, technology is advancing at a very great speed. That means that we, the users, have to catch up with that speed. That means upskilling. That means reskilling. Paul, upskilling is a big challenge, especially in the new niches that are being created every day. What is your take on that, and how do you, your company, deal with that?
Being in niche market around technologies that are not deployed broadly yet, getting to deploy technologies is a challenge, and getting to get the people to operate it is a challenge. Typically for us, again, it's not a challenge for my company, but if I take back my example of in Oman, when we get to the point where now we need to set production centers, let's say that doesn't happen overnight on new technologies, on new operational workflows. So a lot of the things go through collaboration models and transfer of technology models. We mentioned about that a little bit earlier, and go get the expertise wherever it sits. So what we see in Oman is it comes from a lot from Europe, especially Italy, to provide some of the expertise with contract of technology transfer to train and get a local partner to be able to deploy and scale afterwards. Because anyway, in the end, you need to have a local partner that's going to be operating. But the transition can be a bit tough. I wanted to jump on the topic of performance, and just to add up a little bit on what both panelists has been saying. To be able to improve processes, you need to have data points, and it starts with collecting data. In the same way in a lot of business streams, and just for us, looking at being able to know what the part we should digitize, we have exactly the same problem statement, is how do I analyze a part, and how do I know whether a part is feasible for a given technology and so on. And it starts with building a data lake of knowledge for different customers. Of course, you need to protect the IP, that's a given. But creating this common knowledge is often a very, very first start. And because I know that these customers is defining the requirement of a given valve in terms of temperature and operation pressure to this level. This is common knowledge that can become then used in a data lake and then leveraged through AI models to be able to become much faster in operation and become a scalable solution to be deployed to globally. That's what my take on performance.
Okay. So we have a couple of minutes left, and how about a third round of questions? Okay. How about a third round of questions? We have two companies from outside the region, GCC region, nevertheless very strong partners, and we have a company from inside. I want to know randomly, or maybe start with you, Engineer Abdullah, is how are the companies in the region, not only Saudi Arabia, in the region? Of course, you have more exposure to the industry. Are they finding it hard to understand these new technologies? And what do you suggest they do? To
be honest, B2B, very low globally to start real digital transformation. They are talking about something else and they claim it digital transformation. Digital transformation is hard. This is the job of CEO. If CEO intellectually don't understand what's coming, what's his role, he cannot push it in his desk to a CIO or to CFO. This is all days gone. To have a project to implement SAP and have committee and push it to the CIO or Chief Technology Officer and let him to do it. No, this is gone. If the CEO not adapt, understand, own, drive the digital transformation, don't start. It will not happen. because you will touch every point in the company. And this is why we are, as Satya Nadella mentioned many times, he said, we sign MOU with a big corporate, they celebrate. We told them, don't celebrate. We did, as a Microsoft, our job. You need to do your job. The challenge starts on your side. What I like to say, CEO, the key. Intellectual, understand what's coming, what's the challenge, and his daily business to lead the digital transformation, because it will change everything, the operator model, the value proposition, the competitiveness, the skills and competency, everything in the company will be changed. If you don't, the captain don't really take off and lead the direction, the passengers and the co-pilot, they will start to fight, because there is everybody has tried to create his own kingdom and his own way to operate. This is very, very, very important. And we need to focus to lead with the CEO. But globally, the good news, B2B, we are 101. In US, an emerging market, everywhere. Because I live that, I deal with all the technology provider. And there's a big mix between technology and digital transformation. You can find hundreds of companies great in digital, and they are very enabler for us. We cannot move to digital without them. But they are hiding behind technology and label it in digital. If you don't have native cloud, multi-tenant, microservices, APIs, all this in your offering, and also you have deep knowledge of every vertical, you have plug and play, reducing the complexity, increase the capability, increase the depth and analytics. This is, you can become a digital. But hard code, like what the old legacy, hard code, difficult to maneuver, no microservices, no APIs, no structure of right data. This is the old technology, this is the old camp. They are dying in a matter of time if they don't adapt to the new wave, what Microsoft lead globally for enterprise.
If there's one key takeaway, it's going to be leadership from this panel. Thank you, Engineer Abdullah. Elise, what do you suggest, advise companies from France, let's say, coming to the GCC, and the GCC companies that expect these partnerships? What would you suggest to these?
Good question. I think it's really important to understand the culture of GCC. So I think partnership with local company is key to understand the way business works in GCC. So my advice would be, don't think because you're a big French player, you are the best on the market. So I think be humble, and as any region in the world, in fact, you have to understand the culture, the way business works, and to go the right way. And I think partnership is a key success factor for that. So be humble, maybe.
Okay. Paul, both questions are yours. You can take both of them.
I will answer both then. No, my take on the leadership is, digital transformation, integrating new solutions in industrial companies is hard, and we see that very much. The change management is difficult because it requires, it's very often transversal to a lot of organizations. It changed many aspects of the company, but it's also very transversal. So you need to have a lot of people aligned. That's one of the reasons why, if it doesn't come from the CEO, it never happens. In my line of business, we need to be aligned with finance, supply, engineering, at the very least, if not, and procurement, obviously. So this is always a challenge, and that's why it's very good to have top-down approach to be able to thrive through transformation, to be frank.
Great, so we touched base upon, yes, Alice.
Maybe one complement on the leadership. One KPI, because we love KPI here, is the position of digital in organization. How close to the CEO is the digital organization? you have an indicator of the level of maturity of the CEO and the organization.
Okay, so we touched base upon the human element with the leadership and the technological element. Of course, we didn't get very technical. And let me tell you that this is just a glimpse of what is happening in the GCC. And I can assure that we're going to go, and we're not going to stop until we realize our visions. Every country has its vision, the GCC, and overall, inshallah, we're going to realize our visions. And we have about 5 minutes, and I would like to open the floor to if you could state your name, your company, and the country, and just briefly and precisely ask a question and who you're addressing. Just let me give you the mic.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Turki Thneya, and I'm the CEO for the National Security Services Company, SAFE, which is totally owned by the BIF. My question is to Engineer Abdullah. I was impressed with the level of understanding of the technicality, understanding of the game, and that's create a problem. The problem from my side as a leadership, and I think the session is supposed to be related to leadership very strongly. How did you engage your organization to move with you in that direction? Because the challenge here is to engage with this level of understanding, depth, of knowing the game. How did you engage the whole organization to move with you in that direction? Because this is a real challenge. And what you are talking about, the digital transformation, it cannot be done by an individual. It's supposed to be done by an entity who has been led by, I need to express this, a great leader like you in that organization. So I would like to know that, the recipe or the secret of that.
First, it's a classical process for change management. The build shape 20-60-20. Early adapter. You focus with the early adapter. Create lighthouse. Create a success story. Create early adapter. And even in my company, I'm 35 years in the company. Part of the founder, part of the owner, part of the CEO. I'm not afraid to be fired. And also I have struggled to change. 20% early adapter. If you wait and see 60%, they will move. The genius people, the 20%, they know everything negative. And those guys, you need to watch them out. They're the cancer of the organization. Because everything wrong, if they don't invent it themselves, if they don't understand it, 10% normally they move, and 10% you need to fire. And this is a classical change management. It's not really, but you need to show really a lighthouse. Example, inside, you need to celebrate money. You need to celebrate success gain in the market. Don't fluffy and, flashy things of digital control room and screen and visualization. This doesn't help. It's good, but doesn't help. Help, you remove waste, you increase productivity, you gain market share, you increase your margin, you increase your profit. And I think, and also you need to engage. Me, last 5-7 years, last 13 years, 14 years, first operation excellency for 10 years, and last 5 years, I'm focused on daily basis about the subject. The rest, I don't talk about it. Somebody do it, but I believe if I put my house in order, I will win in the market.
That's change management 101 for you guys.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mohammed Al-Zalbi, CEO of Marafiq. You don't know Marafiq is a utility company. We are in the top list of Forbes 100 company in the Middle East, been announced yesterday. I will share with you my experience working with Rebecca and Sours, and also in a way with Paul and his company. As a CEO, I'm struggling to transform. I joined the company the last 3 years as CEO. I met Abu Abdurrahman in different meeting, different subject, because I provide service to him. Power, as he complaining about. Disagreement meeting. And I heard about his transformation in his company. I went to see it. I think what he explained just little. You need to go there and see what real transformation. I see it in the front floor, all his plans. He transformed the company. He has all this he closed the business financially, I think, daily, if not hours. We cannot do it. I need to learn from his experience. I think the way he said the vertical, the 4G, I did the pilot with him to see in one of our water plant. We reduced this support really almost zero now. More our operator focus on operations, safety of the plant, supervisor have plenty time, training, develop themselves. I compliment them. I worked with SUR. SUR, they have a lot of applications, knowing the business, the water. We have a partnership long time, and we have good relationship, and they have a lot of applications. I'm proud now, one of the company, Albeka and O3 model is being implemented by SUR, adopted by SUR in France. I think, so I'll ask SUR maybe elaborate on this. Is really the first time I see soft company or application, Saudi built and being applied in Europe. And be proud. I think also the other question, Engineer Abdullah should light about the other software you have. And Nauras and others will help transform the way you think about HR. You can build HR within, I think, one day you can have your HR system communicating with the government, communicating with the employees, competencies, you name it. I think we need to have sessions about only what they did and the transform. But if you elaborate more about the other software you have, and Elias, if you can shed light about how you implement the O3 in your company, much appreciated. Thank you.
I so wish we could continue, but yeah, it's. I can give you a minute if you want to do it. Yeah, because I don't want to hold them back from lunch, right?
Very few words. I try to be synthetic, and we can talk later. As we said, the strength of our partnership is the complementarity of our solutions. We are coming with connectivity, we are coming with AI already, data model, data dictionary, if I use a word, because if we don't talk the same language, dictionary is really important. So everything exists in SOAR. All the water solution already exist. What we have put with O3 is a management tool, finally, to reach operational excellence. So we have added this, it's a management tool, and we have defined or redefined or implemented into O3 the KPIs to manage water business. And the interest of O3 is to provide this tool to all the layers of the company, from the operator to the top management. So what we did is to implement these KPIs across the organization on both facilities and network to make sure the whole water cycle was covered by the implementation. And with a small experimentation, we have been able to save 10 to 11% of the profitability. So on a small part.
One of our key success factor with the Marafiq and SUR, the leadership. Because Abu Saad, Hans Mohammed was involved and he understand, he drive this. Many companies, we talk with the CEO, we discover all the change that run by a supervisor. And they create hundreds of reasons why it's a bad system, why it doesn't work, and he give you lectures about that. Because either capability or his own agenda. Involvement of a leadership like Abu Saad and Alisa for change, this is why key success factor. And we have 20 platforms. We have for enterprise management system, human capital, and we digitalize a lot of theory and balance scorecard, digital line, KPIs, all this we already run in an engine. And we have security, safety, compliance, ESG, spare part platform. We have 20 spare to complete our autonomous enterprise concept.
And with that, we bring this session to a close. Engineer Abdullah, Alice, Paul, thank you so much. And thank you, audience. Thank you.